Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Moving Right Along, a Muppet movie podcast brought to you by toughpigs.com. It's the podcast where we watch the Great Muppet Caper 2 minutes at a time and talk about it a lot. I'm your host, Anthony Strand.
And I'm your other host, Ryan Rowe.
And joining us today, we have a very exciting return special guest. Tell the listeners who you are.
Hello, I'm Eric Adams, the television editor of the AV Club.
And Ryan and I are both frequent readers of the AV Club.
That is very true.
And I'm a frequent reader of toughpigs.com, so it just all goes in wonderful full circles.
Oh, thanks.
It's just a love fest around here. And speaking of things that we love, we are looking today at minutes 7 and 8 of The Great Muppet Caper, where we start with Kermit, Fozzie, and Gonzo in their editor, Mr. Tarkanian's office. He yells at them, and Kermit pleads with him to send them to London to cover the Lady Holiday story. And that's kind of all that happens here.
We spend this whole time in the newsroom.
Right. And I said his office, but I guess it's not really an office. He's out on the floor with everyone else.
Yes, in fact, he has a door behind him that says private. That is probably his office.
But he likes to be among the people, so he has a desk.
Yes. Which actually, right up top, I wanted to mention his little nameplate on his desk says Mike Tarkanian, and then I guess that's his job title under that, but it's very small. I couldn't read that. Could you?
I couldn't read it. No.
Yeah, I can't really make it out.
Maybe if we had the Blu-ray in front of us, or maybe we'll never know.
It's clearly indicating that he's some sort of editor. I can't tell. I mean, if he's got a desk in the bullpen, he's probably not the editor-in-chief. Like maybe he's the Metro editor or the city editor. I mean, because that would explain why he's so upset about missing this Lady Holiday story. Like not only is he in charge of this whole newspaper, but like there's a local story that his new hotshot reporters totally blew. And I think that that could explain why he's so mad about it.
Yeah, it reflects poorly on him.
Yeah. Right. Well, and I guess we can get into this later too, but he stuck his neck out for those guys. So
Indeed.
He did. But we should talk about who plays Mr. Tarkanian, which is Jack Warden, who is one of the most familiar character actors of like the second half of the 20th century. He worked all the time, forever, from the 50s through the 90s. And like he's in From Here to Eternity, he's in 12 Angry Men, he's also in Problem Child and Dirty Work. So the man had quite a career.
He was also in the TV movie Brian's Song and a few episodes of The Twilight Zone.
Yeah, I mean, he's in, whatever. We could Shampoo, Heaven Can Wait, Being There, all kinds of stuff.
Yes, and I first came across him, and I will always think of him as from his role as the Owl in the 1985 TV miniseries of Alice in Wonderland.
Oh! I did not know he was in that.
That's him. He's in, I think it's in the Looking Glass half of that miniseries, and he's the owl who basically tells Alice that like she's never going to figure things out, she's never going to get out, so she might as well give up.
Huh.
That is incredible, because I am ashamed to admit that I really only know him as Mr. Tarkanian.
Whoa, okay, wow.
You must have seen 12 Angry Men, though.
I haven't. Like, I got some very shameful cinematic blind spots, and apparently most of them concern Jack Warden.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, here's your homework, Eric. You got to watch 12 Angry Men. You got to watch Dirty Work. Those are good ones.
He must have made some sort of impression on Norm Macdonald, because a couple of his last credits are Dirty Work, and then he was in an episode of the Norm Macdonald sitcom that was simply called Norm.
Oh.
Sure. Huh. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess, it's just one of those things where, because 12 Angry Men was like a favorite in my house growing up. It was on cable all the time. We watched it. We got sucked in every time. And so it was always fun for me to see how young he was in that and know that he's like the grandpa from Problem Child. Like even as a kid, it was like my introduction to the aging of actors, I think, was Jack Warden.
Oh, that's interesting.
Anyway, so we can talk about him here. He's really great. Eric, you don't know Jack Warden. What do you think about him here?
God, I don't know Jack Warden, but this role made such an impression on me. Like, I was thinking about it, and I'm speaking to you guys from the AV Club offices right now, which are it's a veritable replication of the newspaper bullpen from the movie. Reporters are running around, phones are ringing off the hook, but like this scene basically set my expectations for what a journalistic career would be like. Like, it's just such a perfect archetypal newspaper newsroom bullpen, and Mr. Tarkanian is like the archetypal editor. He's in his vest, the tie's undone, he's at the absolute end of his rope with his reporters. Like, there's just something about this performance and this like embodiment of the harried news editor that like basically set that type up in my mind, and I think also like endeared me to this character type. Like, I love J. Jonah Jameson in every iteration of Spider-Man, and I certainly encountered Mr. Tarkanian before I encountered JJJ.
Yeah, that's interesting. I guess I did too, because I was not like, I couldn't read when I first saw this movie, so I wasn't reading Spider-Man comics yet.
Sure, huh?
But he's just great. He's just this like grouchy, curmudgeonly editor. You get the impression that even if Fozzie and Kermit and Gonzo had nailed the Lady Holiday story, he'd still be kind of upset at them.
He'd find something to be mad about.
Yeah.
Right.
Did we mention that he also played a newspaper editor in All the President's Men?
We did not.
Yes, I think that's probably one of the main reasons he got cast in this part.
Yeah, that would make sense.
I mean, he just fits the part. He looks perfectly rumpled.
Yes.
Right. Right. Well, and it's funny because, like, I mean, we all have varying degrees of experience with Jack Warden, but he's not Mel Brooks. He's not Steve Martin. He's not like a comedy superstar, but he almost takes the movie over for his scene to the same degree that those guys do in the Muppet movie. And it's really interesting to me that they trusted him to do that so early in this film.
Yeah, he strikes just the right tone. He's funny, but he also is brings the anger enough to get this character across
without pulling too much focus. I think if it was a bigger name, a more marquee player, like maybe you'd be more focused on him being in that scene and less focused on this establishment of Kermit and Fozzie and Gonzo's newspaper career and this extra layer of reality that is being set up for the movie.
Right. Yeah. Did either of you happen to come across the list of other actors that Jim Henson considered for this role?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it. Remind me, though. I remember seeing it on Jim's Red Book a while ago.
Yeah, exactly. So it's on the Jim Henson Red Book blog. Jack Warden was actually the first name he wrote down, but then he also wrote Jim Backus, Tom Bosley, Jackie Cooper, Hume Cronin, David Doyle, Charles Durning, Broderick Crawford, Ed Asner, Martin Balsam, Harvey Korman, Walter Matthau, Jack Klugman, Jack Lemmon, and Lionel Stander. And I think
he was definitely going for a type.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, I think any one of those guys would have been good. I feel like Jim Backus, Ed Asner, and Lionel Stander would have been maybe just as good as Jack Warden.
Well, I feel like Ed Asner would be a little too on the nose, though.
Way too on the nose.
Probably.
Like this movie already essentially has Columbo in it. So for it to also have Lou Grant might be too much.
To cast a newsman as a newsman.
Yeah, and of course Jackie Cooper would be because of Superman, right? Like he plays Perry White.
Yeah.
So that too, it'd just be kind of like, oh hey, remember Superman the movie? Here's Mr. White, Great Caesar's ghost.
Right. They probably would have made him say that.
But it's interesting to me that Jack Warden was the first choice. But again, I think he's great. You know what is my favorite thing he does in this? When Kermit says that identical twins would make such a good story, he says, no, it doesn't. Especially since you two guys don't like anything alike. And then Fozzie puts his hat on. And then he has this very pleased realization that, yes, the hat does make a difference.
Yeah, in my notes I wrote down that his delivery on that is perfect when he just kind of goes, oh, yeah.
And then he snaps back into being angry. Like, it's perfect. It's so good.
That whole exchange is just like perfectly beaded out. Like after Fozzie puts the hat back on and they make the smile face that they're making in that picture, like to include that extra second just really sells that joke.
Right. They both open their mouths. It's so good.
While also setting up the greatest joke ever told on screen, which will come later in the movie.
Oh, sure. That's a teaser for the listeners.
Yes.
The other thing, the other characters that appear in this scene, Kermit, Fozzie, and Gonzo, do get some things to do. What jumps out at you guys about the actual Muppets in this scene?
Well, the jumping, certainly.
Yeah, oh yeah, Gonzo getting flung up to the light fixture.
Which is another, like, the comedy of this, like, the Great Muppet Caper is joke by joke, scene by scene, like hands down, I think the funniest of the Muppet movies. Like it's the one that's just the most purely comedic, the one where they're going so hard for the jokes. And you can see it in like the way that this one is sequenced with the, like, I'll give you a raise setup. Like first there's that tiny jump. And then the second jump, Gonzo does this great acrobatic leap into the ceiling. And, you know, like, we've come to expect that sort of physicality from the character from the show and from the first movie. And just, you know, the gangly limbs of the great Gonzo are just work so well when he's hanging from something.
Right. Oh yeah. No, I agree. Well, and even like the fact that Mr. Tarkanian at the end of the scene says, "Get that thing down off the ceiling," is such a nice dig at Gonzo, I think. Because it's just I mean it's harsh, but also it says a lot about how Gonzo is alien. I mean not that Gonzo is an alien. I'm not a Muppets from Space truther. But the fact that he's like so out of place in this newsroom that he's a photographer on staff and his editor refers to him as that thing.
But I don't think Gonzo would be offended by being called that thing.
No, not at all. I agree. Ryan, did you have anything to add?
I like when Mr. Tarkanian is going over the other newspaper headlines, like the competing newspapers, and at one point he holds up a paper and Kermit says something like, "Oh yes, it's very easy to read," and so Mr. Tarkanian's reaction is very funny because it's just this little. He says, "Shut up now." He's not yelling. He's not. It's just perfectly underplayed. But I also really appreciate Kermit's delivery on the yes. It's very easy to read. Like,
it's such a Sesame Street line almost.
Yeah.
You know, Mr. Tarkanian says it's nice bold print, isn't it? Out of offhand, and Kermit says yes. It's very easy to read, like he's on Sesame Street.
Right. But and obviously Kermit should know that now is not the time to say something like that. And you know, there have been times like I remember when Muppets Most Wanted came out, and we had some sort of debates among Muppet fans about like how stupid should the Muppets be, like how stupid should the writers allow the Muppets to be if the story calls for it. But you know, I think this is a good example of they can be just as stupid as they need to be in that particular moment if it makes for a good joke.
Well, it also raises the question of how, like, are Fozzie and Kermit supposed to be good journalists? Like, are we supposed to take them as a paragons of reporting excellence? Or are they supposed to appear like naive cub reporters on the beat?
I mean, I think the latter. I think, you know, they missed the Lady Holiday story because they're excited about Gonzo taking pictures of chickens. Then they take a picture of themselves and make that the story.
Breaking the number one rule of journalism. Do not make the story about yourself.
Yeah, and they totally do it. Identical twins join Chronicle staff.
Though that does raise the question of, like, how many layers of editing did that have to go through that it wound up on the front page?
Right.
Yep.
And it's like, that's when Mr. Tarkanian sees it. Like, he's mad about this published newspaper.
Yeah, we mentioned that a little bit last week, but this is where he failed at his job.
Yeah.
Well, there's a really good piece of character building, I feel like, for Mr. Tarkanian, that he's got, like, his golf clubs behind his desk.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Huh.
So, like, you know, maybe he's very passionate about the job, but maybe he's a little bit checked out.
Right. Well, and of course, we also have in story a reason why he hired these two incompetent reporters, right? Which is that he was buddies with their dad. So let's talk about the greatest Muppet of all time, Ozzy's dad.
Did they actually construct that as a puppet?
It sure looks like it.
I see. I was gonna say I don't think so. It looks like a retouch. I mean, today it would be Photoshop, but it looks
right.
to
It
me like a
definitely,
retouched photo or a collage or whatever they did back then.
yeah, it definitely looks like they just pasted this thing into the picture of Jack Warden. Like, I don't think that they made a poser puppet and had Jack Warden stand with it. Although I like the idea that they did. Like, I kind of wish they had. But you think they didn't build it? You think it was just
Something about just looking at the coloring and sort of the shadows. Yeah, it doesn't quite look like it really exists to me. I would be thrilled if it did, but I don't think it did.
I noticed for the first time rewatching it for the podcast that you can kind of see like there's some visible lines where maybe the collage came together in the photo.
Right.
Yeah, that might be right.
Like kind of around the face.
Yeah, right. But anyways, it just makes me so happy that not only are Kermit and Fozzie twins, like we have the plausible explanation that they both look like their dad.
Right. Yeah, it's the perfect way to take that gag one step even more ridiculous.
Right. So anyways, I wish Kermit and Fozzie's dad had come back for many more appearances. I wish he had, we got to see Emily Bear and him together.
But
or Kermit and Fozzie's mom might look more like... So Kermit and Fozzie's dad has the basic sort of shape of Fozzie, but with various features from both of them. So maybe their mom has the basic shape of a frog, but with a combination of those features.
Yeah, that might be right. Eric, what were you about to say on the topic?
I was just going to say, we're talking about it as if like these are their canonical parents. And the thing that I've always loved about The Great Muppet Caper is that it's a great comedy about artificiality.
Oh, for sure.
Everything about this movie is so invested in telling you that it is a movie and you're watching a movie, and like that is what I enjoy about it as an escalation from the Muppet movie, where that movie is so kind of fixated on a granular level on integrating the Muppets into the real world. And this movie kind of throws that all out the window and makes a joke of it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and we talked about that some last week as well, that the opening number is so artificial, and Rainbow Connection is trying to convince you that Kermit's in a real swamp, like playing the banjo, So they're almost opposites in their approach.
And I love it.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, so, here's the thing. I guess really, like, we've talked about everything that kind of happens in here. So, Eric, do you just want to talk about your love of Great Muppet Caper in general for a moment, since we have you here?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think I kind of summed it up there. That like I just love that it is like it's the closest. I mean, even in comparison to Muppets Take Manhattan, which is so steeped in Broadway, like it's the big Muppet studio musical. It's so unashamed to be kind of stage bound and to really build these sort of soundstage environments on. I'm assuming did they film this at Elstree?
I believe so.
I think so.
So it's like there's just using these classic movie apparatuses to make an homage to a bygone era of film that the Muppets work really well in. And I think it also kind of like establishes a precedent going forward of how you can map these characters into different eras and different genres of cinema. You see it a little bit more in the movies made after Jim Henson's death, where it's a little more explicit. Like now we're going to map the characters onto A Christmas Carol. We're going to map them onto Treasure Island. Here, it's just they're existing within a a feeling, of a type of movie that you're familiar with that's not necessarily direct parody. Like you get some direct Esther Williams parody in Piggy's big fantasy sequence. But for the most part, it's just this very funny, very earnest homage to big studio musicals.
Yeah. Well said.
Yeah, and that's what I love about it. It's the big flashy Muppet musical.
Right. Yeah. No,
yeah, I've described it as it's pure entertainment.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And Ryan, did you have anything else to add before we close?
Well, okay, so Mr. Tarkanian shows them 3 different newspaper headlines and then asks them, which one would you read? So I wanted to ask you guys, which one would you read?
I'd read the one that has Dear Abby.
Oh, okay.
I love that Dear Abby is Fozzie's primary association with the newspaper.
It kind of seems in character for Fozzie, though.
Oh, for sure.
To read an advice column.
What are the headlines in the other papers?
The Express said, "Jewel heist on Main Street, famous London designer robbed," which might be a little bit too wordy.
Yeah, it's a little bit, that's approaching like Leslie Knope headline territory.
The Daily Times had Lady Holiday's jewels stolen, and the City Herald has Fashion Queen of London robbed.
I'd probably read that, Fashion Queen of London robbed.
It's a little bit exciting, but it's not too much.
Yeah. And although, if I'm being honest, I would read the one that has Kermit and Fozzie on the
Well, it would be intriguing, right? If you saw a front page that said identical twins and it was 2 people who didn't really look anything like each other.
What do they do, though? Because Fozzie's wearing his hat.
Well, I guess that's the thing. If you existed in the world of this movie, you might think that they looked identical.
Right.
So I might also mistake that for like the Weekly World News.
Sure.
True. Yeah. And then I wanted to mention another line that I love a lot is when he's looking at the framed photo of himself with their dad, and Fozzie says, "Dad spoke well of you too." It's not really a joke, but it makes me laugh every time.
Well, it gives you more and more of this sense that like this is a real relationship. Like there's history between these 3 people. Maybe Mr. Tarkanian watched those identical twins grow up.
Oh yeah. Maybe he's known them their whole life.
He was over to their house.
And it really that really helps a lot, I guess, justify why they're even working at a newspaper in the first place. So yeah, good job, screenwriters.
Yeah.
And then from a narrative standpoint, for those who are following along the plot, listening to our podcast, these are the minutes where Mr. Tarkanian fires them. But then this is where Kermit starts to make his case that all they want to do is go to England and have him pay for their plane ticket and go talk to Lady Holiday, and they will catch the jewel thieves, which seems to me a little bit outside the normal jurisdiction of newspaper reporters to actually catch the thieves. But Kermit is very ambitious.
Yeah, that's right. So we'll see if it works out for him.
Exactly.
All right. So thanks for listening, everyone. We'll be back next week with another episode. In the meantime, you can check out toughpigs.com on the internet, Facebook, Twitter, wherever else you can find us. You can follow me on Twitter at Zeppo Marxist. You can follow Ryan at MeRyanRowe. Eric, can you remind us where to find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter at Eric M. Adams, and you can read my writing on the Great Muppet Caper and many, many other subjects at avclub.com.
You're on the Great Muppet. You're on the Great Muppet Caper beat. That's what I like. It's like among other subjects.
Much like Kermit and Fozzie, I'm on the Great Muppet Caper beat.
Right. Well, and like we talked about when you were on for the Muppet movie, you did review the first 2 seasons of the Muppet Show on the AV Club.
I did, yeah. Now you guys have way outpaced me on Tough Pigs, which I'm glad to see somebody else taking up that torch.
Yeah, see it through the finish. I don't know why we wouldn't, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it helps that we have it spread out across a team of like 6 writers.
Right. Yeah, that's the other thing. So All right. On that note, we will say goodbye. But listeners, give us a positive review on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. And tell all your friends to listen to Moving Right Along. We'll be back next week with another episode. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Johannes, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you, brother.